Okay, let's dive in. Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling, well, a really big question, what almost everyone asks at some point, right? How do you find what you really love? Like, what are you actually meant to do?
It's a huge one.
It is. And we've gathered insights from quite a bit of source material focused exactly on this. Our mission here is pretty simple. Pull out the most important bits, the real practical stuff, to help you figure out what genuinely makes you tick, what makes you feel alive.
And it really is a journey finding that passion or purpose. It's not usually like flipping a switch. The sources we looked at, they offer some surprising takes on what passion is, and maybe just as important, what it isn't.
Right. Okay, good starting point. So based on the material, how should we even think about passion? It's got to be more than just, liking something.
Oh, much more. The sources define it, yes, as something you enjoy, something that makes you feel excited, alive, motivated. But here's the crucial part they all seem to agree on. It motivates you even when it's difficult. It's that inner pull, that drive that keeps you plugging away when things get tough.
So it's not just the easy, fun stuff. There's a grit element baked in. That makes a lot more sense. And why is finding this so important? What's the actual, real-world payoff?
Well, the research cited in the material points to some pretty significant impacts. We're talking studies showing people engage with their passions are more productive, they report being happier, and some research even links it to living longer, healthier lives. It affects overall well-being pretty dramatically.
Wow. Okay, that's serious motivation.
Yeah.
And it really puts into perspective how many people might be missing out on that, because the material mentions this huge Gallup survey.
Yeah.
Global thing.
Yeah, the engagement numbers.
Right. Only 15% to 15% of people worldwide feel engaged at work.
It's incredibly low.
Which means what? 85% are likely not spend their days doing something they truly connect with, something they love. So this deep dive really is maybe a way to think about joining that smaller, happier 15%.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings us to the big question. Okay, if it's that important and most people aren't feeling it, how do you actually find it? Where do you even start looking?
Yeah, it feels so big. But the sources suggest something interesting here. It's often not about some dramatic revelation. It's more about paying attention to clues that are, already there, sometimes right under your nose.
Precisely. They give some really practical pointers, like ask yourself, what do you genuinely enjoy doing? Forget money for a second. What would you do anyway?
Yeah.
Or what activities just suck you in, where you look up and suddenly hours have passed?
That's a classic sign, isn't it? The flow state. If time vanishes, pay attention. And here's another one the material really highlights, which I found quite insightful. What do people ask you for help with? Consistently.
That one gets missed so often. Because if you're naturally good at something, it might not feel like a big deal to you.
Right, it just seems normal.
Exactly. And the source material has this great little story. Someone who, back as a teenager, was always the one friends went to for help writing speeches, for school events, that sort of thing, just helping out, right? But years later, looking back, they realized that was the early practice. That was the seed for what became their passion and career in coaching and public speaking.
Wow, what a perfect example of a clue hiding in plain sight. It wasn't some grand ambition then, just helping.
Just doing something they were good at and probably enjoyed on some level.
So the sources are really saying, pay attention. Notice those moments you feel that buzz of energy or inspiration. They call it your inner compass.
Yeah, I like that term. It's like your internal GPS pointing towards what resonates, what lights you up. It might not show the final destination immediately, but it gives you a direction.
An inner compass.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, before we make this sound too easy or maybe overwhelming, the sources also do a great job clearing up some common myths, misconceptions about passion.
Yes, let's bust some myths. That's important.
Okay. Myth number one, probably the biggest one. You have only one true passion.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not true, according to this material. That idea puts so much pressure on people. The sources really emphasize you can have many passions. Plural. And they can change, evolve throughout your life. That's totally okay.
Takes the pressure off finding the one thing. Good. Myth number two.
That following your passion means you'll never feel tired or, hit roadblocks. It's all smooth sailing.
The passion means perpetual bliss myth. Dangerous one.
Very, because the first hard day makes you think, oh, I must be wrong. But the sources are clear. Nope. Even when you love something deeply, there will be frustrating days, exhausting periods, moments of self-doubt. Passion gives you the why to push through, not immunity from the struggle.
Right. It fuels perseverance, doesn't eliminate the need for it. Okay, and myth number 3, the one that often stops people cold.
That you must quit your job, drop everything, make some drastic leap to follow your passion.
Yeah, the all-or-nothing approach. Very intimidating.
And the sources say, well, not always. You don't have to jump off that cliff. There's this great example in the material of a student. Works full-time in finance, demanding job, but found this deep love for painting in her evenings and weekends.
Okay.
She started small, kept her job, but began selling her art online, building it alongside her existing life. It shows you can integrate it, especially at the start.
That's a really practical, encouraging example. You don't have to blow up your life tomorrow.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how these ideas, the clues, busting the myths, they all come together in, real people's lives. The sources share this one story that really paints a picture. The story of Carlos.
Ah, yes, Carlos. Tell us about him. What was his situation?
Carlos worked in IT. Pretty standard story, felt kind of unengaged, a bit bored day to day, but he had this quiet interest in coffee. It started growing.
Not just drinking it.
No, like everything about it, the beans, where they came from, different brewing methods, espresso machines, even that fancy latte art.
So he noticed that spark, that inner compass was pointing towards coffee.
Seems like it. And he acted on it. Started learning everything he could, read books, watched videos online, the deep dive.
Okay.
Then he took a practical step. Got a part-time job in a local cafe on weekends, just to get his hands dirty, literally.
But he was applying those steps we talked about, trying something new, seeing how it felt, learning by doing.
Absolutely. And notice, he didn't quit his IT job right away to do that weekend gig.
Right. He integrated it, tested the water.
Exactly. He didn't wait until he knew everything or felt 100% certain. He just started exploring. And about a year later, after really immersing himself, that sustained effort, that energy he found even through the learning curve, it led him to open his own small coffee shop. And it was successful.
That's fantastic. A real journey from bored IT guy to passionate coffee entrepreneur. And didn't the source mention something else? An interesting side effect for Carlos about his English.
Yes. That was such a cool detail. Because he got so into coffee, he had to learn all the specific terminology, right? Bean origins, tasting notes, machine parts. And then his shop started attracting tourists. So he had to improve his conversational English to talk to customers, explain the different coffees.
Wow. So pursuing the passion actually boosted a totally different skill set.
Yeah, it shows how following that energy can lead to unexpected growth in other areas, like language learning in his case.
That's a great illustration. Okay, so we've got a handle on what passion kind of looks like, the clues to watch for, the myths to ignore, and a real story like Carlos. For you listening now, what are the really simple, actionable steps the sources suggest to actually start this discovery process? How do you begin?
Yeah, the material boils it down to a few key actions. Step 1 is pretty straightforward. Actively try new things.
Get out there and experiment, basically. Take that online class you keep seeing ads for, maybe volunteer somewhere interesting. Try learning a basic skill, photography, coding, anything, just because it seems vaguely appealing.
Exactly. You just never know what might click until you try it. Step 2, reflect.
The pause and process step.
Right. After you try something new, actually take a moment. Ask yourself, okay, how did that feel? Did I enjoy parts of it? Why or why not? That self-awareness is crucial, helps you notice what gives you energy versus what drains it.
Makes sense.
Step 3.
Talk to people. This one can feel a bit weird sometimes, but ask people you trust, friends, mentors, maybe a coach, what they see in you.
Like, what do they think your strengths are? Or when do they see you light up?
Precisely. Sometimes other people notice our talents or sparks before we do. Their outside perspective can be really valuable.
Good point. Okay, and the 4th step. This one feels important.
It is, and it's often the hardest. Don't wait until you feel 100% ready or have the perfect, detailed plan all mapped out.
Uh-oh. The perfectionist trap.
Totally. The sources really hammer this point. Clarity often comes through action, not before it. You figure it out by doing. Yeah, that feeling of needing everything perfect before you start. It can paralyze you. The sources had a great little mantra for this, didn't they?
They did. It was something like, start small, start messy, start excited, just start.
I love that. Start messy. It gives you permission to not have it all figured out.
Exactly. Takes the pressure off needing some grand, perfect launch. Just begin exploring.
Okay, so let's wrap this deep dive up. We've looked at how the sources define passion, that drive, that pull, even when it's tough. We explored looking for those clues, often hidden in plain sight, what makes you lose time, what people ask for your help with, that inner compass.
We busted some key myths. You don't have just one passion, it won't always be easy, and you don't necessarily have to
saw how Carlos's coffee journey brought all this to life, even boosting his English skills along the way. And we laid out those simple steps for you. Try new things, reflect on them, talk to others, and crucially, just start. Don't wait for perfect.
And drawing right from that just start idea in the source material, here's a little challenge for you this week. Pick one new thing, something that genuinely sparks even a tiny bit of interest. It could be anything, small, seems silly, doesn't matter, and just do it, purely for the fun or curiosity of it.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Try a completely new recipe, listen to a podcast on a topic you know nothing about, attend a free online webinar on something random, maybe just take a different route walking home with your phone camera out, noticing details.
Just one small experiment.
Exactly. See where that little exploration leads. No pressure, just see.
I like that, planting a small seed. And it connects back to what we mentioned earlier, doesn't it? How learning itself, like say, improving your English can be part of this bigger journey. English, or any skill, it's a tool, right? It opens doors to new worlds, new information, new people, new potential passions.
Absolutely. It's all part of exploring and expanding your horizons.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on, something that really stood out from the source material. Remember, your passion doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't need to look like anyone else's idea of success or fit into some neat category. It just has to be yours.
That's powerful. It really emphasizes the personal nature of this journey.
It really does. So if this deep dive sparks something for you, maybe share it with a friend, someone you know who might be asking these same big questions, looking for their own purpose, or just a bit more spark in their life. Thanks so much for joining us today.